Good afternoon, everybody. Sunday afternoon, the 25th of July, episode 48 of So What's Been Happening. I'm super excited about this one. The good news is I get to do this one solo by myself. So that's something a little bit different. I'm used to having a couple of other guests with me, so I haven't done one solo for a little while. So bear with me as I'm trying to click the buttons and produce this at the same time. So give me a bit of grace if anything goes pear-shaped. But the great part about this show is I get to introduce a beautiful act that I came across recently. And just to touch on that, I came across Kerryn's beautiful voice at the Brunswick Ballroom not long ago. So that was a beautiful moment, given it was almost my last gig before the lockdown phase. So I look forward to chatting to Kerryn in relation to those lockdowns and what we go through as artists and also fans as well, to get to gigs and reschedule gigs and how that all happens these days. It's getting a little bit challenging, but let's forget about that for a touch, and let's bring on Kerryn Fields. Hi, Kerryn. How are you?
Kia ora, Aaron. I'm okay. I'm doing okay. How are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you. We're both sitting in Melbourne under lock and key for a touch longer. Hopefully this isn't too much longer. We're all hopeful of some good news this week.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we just have to take today and say, the only plans I can make are till midnight tonight. It's a bit like that, huh?
Yeah, it sure is. Let's just flash back a little bit to where we were a couple of weeks ago, and it's incredible to be on a Sunday afternoon at a great little iconic music venue now that was Spotted Mallard and reformed as the Brunswick Ballroom and has been for a little while. And we were lucky enough to, I was lucky enough to be gracious in hearing your beautiful voice for the first time, Kerryn. So I know I came up to you and was kind of a little bit emotional at the time, to be fair. You kind of blew me away, which is a great sign. So thank you.
Oh, that's so kind. Thank you very much. I feel very humbled by. I think there's a lot more honesty in the emotional response that's happening at live gigs as well, and whether or not it's just my music or everyone is experiencing it. But I've certainly held a lot of emotional after parties, I think, at live gigs when we're able to have them. So to hear that from you is very humbling. Thank you, Aaron. I really miss doing what I love to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's just touch on that gig for the moment. It was you were a little bit hard to follow on the day, and I know you're very modest, so you'll take that for what it is. But going up first, always, and warming up the crowd, you definitely did that. That's for sure.
Thank you. It was very nerve-wracking for me. What a phenomenal lineup to be opening the show for. So, it was kind of like fill the stage. So I do my best.
No, you did more than your best. You did outstanding job. So thank you. So how does it feel right now in sitting there in lockdown? I know we just touched on it. Hopefully it's not much longer, but we've been through these battles before, and this is number 5, obviously, sitting here in Victoria. So were you able to escape a couple of the Melbourne lockdowns in between?
Oh, I was in New Zealand for 8 months last year, so I missed most of the hard lockdown. Even though it was a hard lockout, my partner is here in Karanjang, so it was very difficult to be separated from my love and our animals and our life. But I was very lucky to be home in New Zealand for 8 months. So this year's just been. It's like taking first steps again. It's very wonky. So the lockdowns this year have kind of left us really quite paralyzed in terms of identifying who we are and what we do and how we do it anymore. I'm definitely feeling that uncertainty, like the like the earth's about to shake at any moment. I guess that's a New Zealand analogy. I'm like waiting for an earthquake. That's kind of what it feels like coming back to Melbourne and waiting for the next lockdown. You feel like it's inevitable, but you just got to brace yourself and find something sturdy to cling on to until it passes over.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was a lot of excitement about getting out of lockdown the first or second time, but we get to this fifth one, and although it's quite a short one, it kind of seems like everyone's dragging themselves out now. And it will be a bit more of a challenge getting people out and venues confident again, because once again, financially, it's got harder and harder for these, especially venues, to stay alive, let alone festivals. So, it's not going to be a quick road out of this one. But we've got to stay optimistic. And one thing comes across in your music, and I know you are an incredible storyteller through the lyrics of your songs, and you're able to document a lot of your life, no doubt. But how have you found through that lockdown phase? I know you recorded a new album recently.
Yeah, I finished the album in May 2020. So I'd done, because I'd recorded, my part of the record was done in 3 days under a full moon, and then we just barely touched on it afterwards at the studio. So we were done really before the hectic lockdowns began. So I guess like writing and being creative in lockdown was almost like, for me, I could be even freer to just purge anything I needed to get out and be free to create, because I wasn't necessarily creating for a record. I was already sitting on a finished product of songs and joy and sadness and hope. So this past year of being creative for me is really just been a lot of it's just been making compost for the roses to come, if I'm going to be honest. It's been really tough creatively to find anything that I would play in public, but it's been very cathartic, I'll say that.
Yep. Oh, great.
Yeah.
I suppose it's all part of that internal healing we have to do during this time, to not take too much of it in. I know we're supposed to be locked up in a safe environment, so let's hope that is the case. But it must have been a little bit challenging to be away from loved ones, for sure, for so long.
Yeah, well, I was with loved ones and away from loved ones. So prior to COVID, obviously, I explored the privilege of being a New Zealand citizen with a foot in Australia. And that's a story that many Southerners can relate to, whether it's your family in Australia and family in New Zealand. So I was free to jump from one to the other. So I, no matter where I am, I'm always missing my family, whether I'm in Australia or in New Zealand. So whilst it was incredible to be home with everyone I loved back home, and just, having pikelets with my grandma and hanging out with my mum and dad and brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews, on the other side, my whole community and my sweetheart and my other brother and nieces and nephews are here in Australia. So yeah, I could definitely feel for those that are trans-Tasman living in a post-COVID world, because what once felt so close and reachable is now starved for touch and connection. So yeah, you can't win being a trans-Tasman traveller at the moment, it feels.
Well, I think after what I heard not long ago, I've definitely swept you under our wing, and you've become an Aussie, a permanent Aussie, hopefully. So it's about keeping you here and about keeping Matt Joe Gow here as well, two iconic Kiwis that we really look forward to keeping you here for a bit longer.
Well, we love Australia, and Australia is home, and New Zealand is home. I'm very lucky we are afforded great privilege as Australian and New Zealand citizens to be able to call both places home and be tucked under the wings of either. So it's a great joy to be able to feel comfort and home here in Australia. And I feel that even more having made that, decision again to return, even though most of my life is here now. It was like a conscious decision, leaving the safest country on the planet, to come back to Australia, and then to return here and just be overwhelmed with the community again, and the embracing and that welcome back and welcome home. It was really it really meant a lot to me, and it means a lot. To be embraced by Australia in that way.
Good, very good. All right, well, we might take a first song from you, if you don't mind.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Cool. I'm
What
going
have
to
you
play
got
the
for us?
classics. You cool with that?
Absolutely. Classics are good.
Classics are good. I thought we could do with a love song. This is a song I wrote in my hometown. I'm from Tikawiti. It's also known as Te Rohe Pōtai, the place of the hat, in the middle of the North Island. And there's a little stream, a little river that runs through the middle of the town. It's very beautiful. I didn't used to think it was very beautiful, but then I left and went back and was like, oh yeah, no, it's beautiful. So I wrote this sweet love song down by the river, sitting on the back of my daddy's ute. My heart has been hiding in a box. It's been waiting for love to pick the lock. I've been sitting here singing in the dark, thinking no one could open me up until you. How exceptionally, beautifully, wonderfully God made you. When nobody was giving me the answer, 'cause nobody was telling me the truth, I've been searching for the heart of the matter, and had no one I could lean on to until you. How exceptionally, beautifully, wonderfully God made you. I got used to believing that love is no use, and I got used to telling myself that I'm just a fool until you. Until you, until you, Now my heart is as wide as the ocean. When I think about coming home to you, I'll be dancing like a pretty ballerina, with my treasure chest open to you. Oh, for you. How exceptionally, beautifully, wonderfully God so exceptionally, beautifully, wonderfully, God made you.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you for that little finish as we was clicking up some buttons to get you back.
You're welcome.
Just tell us a little bit about that song, Kerryn. Incredible opening lyric there about trapped and then being open with a heart. And just tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I guess the metaphor is like a little treasure chest, the little old jewelry boxes you'd open. There's a ballerina dancing inside. And for the longest time, I felt really invisible and really trapped by my own sadness and I guess like self-hatred as well. And a lot of this new record is about navigating big things, navigating big hard things that have happened in life. And also it's a great love record as well. It's about you can't love someone until you love yourself. And so that song there, Until You, is as much about falling in love with myself as it is with finding love in another person. So yeah, once you open that sweet little treasure chest of truth, that is your authentic self, you're able to live as beautifully and as freely as you like. And sometimes it just takes a really special person to come along and just go, there you go. And then you can see yourself.
Was that moment for you? What did unlock that little moment for you? Or have you just found,
surprisingly enough, like
it detox your life a bit more?
It was actually the end of my long-term relationship, which is a heavily centered theme in this record, that allowed me to take a step back and see all the parts of my life that I was sabotaging and being really just down and hard on myself. And yeah, it was like, it wasn't any one person in particular that came along and sort of unlocked it. I guess it was like, first of all, just like not being in that relationship that I was in anymore, and then being open to the possibility of being deeply in love with myself. And I don't want this to come from a place of extraordinary ego where I'm saying I love myself. Like it's not around that. It's not about looking for validation. It's really just about finding that centered truth in yourself. And yeah, there was one person in particular who was able to come along and hold a mirror up to me and show me some things that I needed to see. But I think it was a collective of beautiful people in my life that led me to sit down by that river and just write that beautiful love song. Yeah, that's Until You.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing that, because it is beautiful. The wording is beautiful, and it really it plays drifts away beautifully with your guitar and your voice. So thank you. And the harmonica is just another level of that, another layer. So have you always been where did the guitar journey start for you? How old were you, and when did you pick one up?
Tasty question. So my mum plays guitar, and so I grew up a lot with my mum playing beautiful songs that she enjoyed from throughout time. Like there wasn't any particular kind of, genre of music that she really enjoyed playing. So I guess for me, when I got to be about sort of 11 or 12, I'd already been playing recorder, which I took like really seriously. Like when they finally introduced it at school, I was like, I've already got recorder book 1 down pat. So when I came to playing guitar, it was kind of like asking my mum permission to enter that world, which I knew was very sacred and special to her. So I had to work for it. I had to do the washing and do the dishes and do the chores for a week to borrow the guitar for an hour, and sit there and figure it out on my own. And then that led to me. Well, that didn't lead to me, but I ended up in hospital for long periods of time throughout the rest of my teenage years. So the guitar followed me into the hospital wings, and I lay flat on my back and plucked away on that guitar until I didn't have to be there anymore.
All right. So it kind of formed some sort of therapy for you as well.
Yeah, and I guess like for the people around me as well, that was probably the big defining moment, is that I always really enjoyed playing music for myself. It's something that I find really personal and sacred in my own little world. And I would often like close the curtains in the hospital room because, I'm a teenager experiencing life for months on end, locked up. So lockdown to me is kind of like, this feels very eerie and familiar. But I would close the curtains and there would be other patients coming and going who would ask for me to open the curtains and could you keep playing, or could you play that song again? I wasn't necessarily singing, I was just sort of plucking away, but you'd notice the whole energetic connection within the room would change when music was on, and people, there wouldn't be, you could feel the pain dissolving in the room around you, and you could feel the calmness come through the room, and you could feel families visiting with other patients in the room just relax and feel comforted by this, teenager plucking away in the corner on the guitar. And so that to me just symbolized something much deeper and more profound about music, that I guess like set the seed for me to directly channel all sources and senses of healing through music, from then till forevermore, I guess.
Yeah. And obviously with influences like Cat Stevens, Neil Young, to name a couple, you've obviously got that storytelling part absolutely down pat.
Thank you. I often find that when I go to describe the songs that I'm like, oh, this is not describing it very well. I'm like, the song tells the story. And if I try and tell the story of the story, I end up quite muddled. Yeah. Anyway, you get the gist.
We do. And let's maybe we kick off with another one as well.
Cool. Well, Les has chimed in and said, may I request Atlantis, that's a big one, Les. Are we taking requests, Aaron? Is this something we do? We're vibing on the interconnection?
We can do the request, but it's totally over to you. So you can decide whether you play it now, later, or not at all. But I know that was the one that got for me, and I know you opened the show with it, I think.
I feel like Atlantis is the one that, like, it's, if you weren't paying attention, I really want you to pay attention to this one. And so I kind of, something comes up from my boots and fills up my chest on the way to singing Atlantis. So I can do that. I can do that for you. I hope it sounds okay coming through this microphone. I know it's a bit raw.
No, it's great. Thank you.
It's not reverbed up or anything like that. It's just straight up. And for those tuning in, I'm in Kurrajong on Wurundjeri and Wathaurong country, live in the magic room. All right, here's Atlantis. Loving you is a dance to a tune. In the kitchen with the nook of your back, breathing up against my hand. If you want Atlantis, I'd dive in the ocean, and you can bet I'd find it there. I know where I'm going, yeah. Let the light above be Aurora Borealis, baby. Pocahontas, I'd die for the way you love that song.
I wanna kiss my woman first thing in the morning, just like you. Don't overthink yourself, baby. I'm not asking for any more than you. If you want Atlantis, I'd dive in the ocean. You can bet I'd find it there. I know where I'm going, yeah. Let the light above be Aurora Borealis, baby. Pocahontas, I'd die for the way you love that song. Incredible woman, baby. Neil Young would be begging to write you if he could. If you want Atlantis, I'd dive in the ocean, and you can bet I'd find it there. I know where I'm going, yeah. Let the light above be Aurora Borealis, baby. Pocahontas, I'd die for the way you love that song. Loving you is a dance to the moon. In the backyard, in the nape of your neck, breathing up against your skin.
Wow. That's a serious another wow moment. You got me again, Kerryn, but thank you.
Great.
It's just hopefully this gets out to a few people and they can watch this later if they're not watching now and have one of those wow moments like I just did again. So Kerryn, I know you put that was a reason, obviously, other than that must be a special song to you, but to put that as the first track on that new album. Just tell us a little bit about why it ended up there.
Why it ended up in the number one spot?
Yeah, absolutely. It must be always the tricky part to decide which one is going to be the first track they hear.
I guess it's because it's the realest part of me, and the album, as I mentioned, explores mostly the themes of love and loving yourself and loving another and losing love and messing love up and figuring out where to turn to when you've got no love left. And Atlantis for me is the boldest love song that I could write for the record. It's the one that puts everything into it and knows exactly where it's going and what it is. It's early feelings of love. It's the lightning bolts. It's everything. It's the it's the anxiety in there as well. It's the not sure. It's the it's the push and pull of should we, shouldn't we. It's it's a love song, and it was the best love song that I could lead with. So, of course, the record finishes with another love song, but that one doesn't end as happily. It's a different kind of love song. So, I hope that answers your question.
Which absolutely does, and just the cover for that single Atlantis? Just tell us a little bit about that little moment, where that came from.
That was deep in the womb of Papatūānuku, in my hometown Waitomo. So I'm from Tikawiti. Waitomo is where there are many caves underground. And so spending a lot of time back home, I spent a bit of time out at Footwhistle Cave with a good friend named Kyle, and he took me down and said we should capture you with the glowworms. So what you see around me are glowworms on the sides of the cave, and I guess that's the closest thing to a southern hemisphere aurora borealis deep in the earth. That was as close as I could get, but that's the story of that shot. And I'm wearing my stepmom's mother. I'm wearing her green coat. That was her favorite coat before she passed away. And so because, of course, I was trapped in my hometown, so I was looking for things to wear and places to be photographed in. So those two there really sum up where I was and what I was doing in lockdown 2020. Yes.
Well, it's incredible how those little moments, sometimes not always planned as they are, but come together and form a little special part of that song. So
it was really special. It was really beautiful to have that moment captured.
Yeah. It's never always what you see or know when you see going in, but you seem like an incredibly grounded and connected to the earth person now. Obviously, probably that wasn't always the case, and maybe it's taken that true way to be able to let go and love yourself, to be able to connect back. But I see, even from the live stream you did last week in your backyard with the fire and all that moment, creating the fire and all that, it was really special. So just tell us a little bit about that connection now that you have.
Oh, I love that you go there. Let's dive in.
Absolutely.
Tell me about that connection.
Do you feel you're connected?
Everything, Aaron. I feel everything, especially elemental everything. And I don't know whether it's experiencing chronic pain my whole life, whether it's having gone through incredible challenges before most people would have to go through those kinds of challenges. I don't know what led me to feel everything to this degree, but the connection to the elements is something that keeps me grounded and happy and safe. And I guess the connection to our ancestors, to great spirits, to stories before me, to stories that will come after me, it just helps. It makes me feel like I'm a part of everything. And I'm not a part of everything, which is where anxiety and self-hatred can really blossom, is when we feel disconnected. But I certainly feel like I am of the everything, and that's something I nurture, and I practice that with deep integrity and intention. For most of the time I was home last year in New Zealand, I just spent most of the time just pounding in the bush, just walking and climbing mountains and drinking from waterfalls, and a great privilege to be able to do so. But I acknowledge that, and I honor that privilege by actually taking that privilege and doing with it what I should, rather than sitting back and going, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. I'm right there and amongst it. So lighting a fire as well. Last week on the live stream, a few folks had commented like, oh, I would need heaps of paper, or I don't know how to light a fire. And I'm like, oh, wow, allow me to invite you in. And people feel really connected if they're not able to connect themselves, if you're able to open up those parts of you, like drinking from the stream is something I learned, that you don't have to cup your hand against the flow of water to fill your cup. You just dip your hand in with the flow and your cup will fill. And as an analogy for life as well, just going with the flow. So little things that connect you to the elements, like lighting a fire, you don't need lots of paper, you don't need lots of fanfare, you just need to start really little and nurture that beautiful part to life. And I find the more connection you have to the elements, the more sacred you find yourself existing and living and breathing and learning to be a part of everything, and seeing that in other people and acknowledging other people's magic and spirit and connectedness allows you to feel that deeper in yourself.
Definitely. That was very deep. But I know you also spoke of the three elements to create fire, and that little connection with one of those elements missing was a classic case of don't fight it, but when the three connect, you create such a beautiful thing, and that was very touching in your thoughts there in relation to fire.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm.
I'm trying to remember all the things that would have come spilling out of my guts during a live stream. I tend to say things and go, did I give that away?
Yes, no.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to go deep.
You do.
That's a place I'm comfortable with.
Good. That's a great place to be. That's
yeah.
A great place to be. All right. Well, speaking of going deep, I'm not sure if we're going to go deep with this next one, but just tell us a little bit about what you're going to play for us next.
Well, I should play Mama. That's one for folks that maybe haven't seen me play before. This is a nice little sing-along song, or a catchy song to get involved with. And this song was written in Australia on my own little pilgrimage up north to Queensland in the days of frivolous travel. And it was at a point in my life where I was really examining what I was up to and the decisions that I'd made and the choices that I had made in my life. And I borrowed a guitar in a country town at a little open mic night in the middle of goodness knows. I actually don't know where I was. So if anyone's tuning in is like, I know where you were.
That's cool. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I borrowed a guitar from a young dude who was going through his own stuff. And his mum came up to me after I'd played a couple of songs and shared with me some of her journey with her son. And I just felt really connected to that love, the love that it takes to get yourself out of a really bad situation, the love that you have to be vulnerable to and accept to help you out of not such good situations. And in turn, it helped me look to my community and my family as well for the love that I needed to get through what I was going through. So I'm just staying in the deep zone here, Aaron. I'm not, there's no light and fluffy at the moment. But
no, that's okay. No problem at all.
This is a song called Mama. And there's a sing-along part, so play at home.
You got your chance to hit the big time, but instead you hit the crack pipe. Mama's gonna see you right, baby. Mama's gonna see you right.
That's your part.
You've done wrong to many a man, and they're gonna catch you if they can. But Mama's gonna see you right, baby. Mama's gonna see you right. Only your mama's love can save you, baby. When you've messed up your whole damn life, only your mama's love can save you, baby. So mama's gonna see you right, baby. Mama's gonna see you right. Times are tough and you feel like a goddamn fool, 'cause it's all your fault and you're bound to hang. One step up from the bottom of the whiskey glass is love, and who else in the world to ask? Only your mama's love can save you, baby. When you messed up your whole damn life, Only your mama's love can save you, baby. So mama's gonna see you right, baby. Mama's gonna see you right. Only your mama's love can save you, baby. So mama's gonna see you right, baby. Mama's gonna see you right. So you come home a broken man, skin and bone and empty hands, but mama's gonna see you right, baby. Mama's gonna see you right.
Once again, how beautiful is that? And the lyrics to that song, I notice you've put on a beautiful tea towel, and there's a little image of part of it. I think that's a beautiful touch too. So
thank you. Well, I always encourage folks to sing along, especially at live shows. It's a big part of feeling together, you know, a little moment in the show where you can go, everyone do the same thing at the same time. And then the tea towels, there's no excuse now. It's written down. You can sing along.
that's right. You should know the words before you get to the next gig, right?
Yeah, it's really cool. A lot of folks who I know have come to more than one show, which is always a great privilege. But you see them light up when mama start kicking off because they've done their homework and they know that I'm going to reel them in to sing along. So there's harmonies that happen now and people just taking their own microphone and singing along. So that's cool. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a comment from a good friend of ours, Dave Cosma, who's asking about your hat. Tell us a little bit about your hat.
This is made by Cat Feather and Drum Hat Company, based now in Yakandanda. Kat is a very, very, very good friend of mine and a friend of the world, friend of the people, friend of the artist community. And when COVID hit, Kat stopped playing drums as much as she was and turned her passion into creating hats, which for the most part, I believe, have been eagerly sought after by the artist community in which she comes from. But Kat actually dyed this hat indigo and left the little moon there for me. So it's like a custom hat, which I love very, very much. So I'm in line to get quite a few more of these divine hats to wear for various occasions. So I hope to have a whole wardrobe of Kat's hats.
Beautiful. Very beautiful. And Dave's got a first handmade hat, which is must be pretty special for Dave. So
oh, that is a piece.
That is. Will be and I know you feature it very much on some of your new material, new promotional product.
Yeah, well, we went for a photo shoot and it just happened to be wearing that hat, so now it's everywhere, which is awesome because you can see I've got quite a collection. And because lockdown meant I grew my hair, right? I don't know if you've seen any photos of me pre-COVID, but I had like a short back and sides, right? So the army crew cut, that was my style. Yep. So this is, I haven't had this hair since I was 10 or 11 years old. Anyway, quite a few of my hats don't fit anymore because I've got this big mop of hair that I can't get underneath my hat. So a few of them are now retired on the shelf.
Yes. Oh, very good. And just upcoming gigs, obviously it's a little bit unknown for a little bit now. And I know you've had to postpone your album launch, which must be a touch frustrating because Northcote Social Club, beautiful venue, and would have been a great project, obviously, and gig, but it's not easy just to pull a band together from all different places and then just hook up again and play at another venue. So, and especially second and third lineups as well, and supports and all those kind of things. So just tell us a little bit about what you know that is coming up. Maybe go a little bit out and then come back to the.
What I know is coming up. Okay, so I've got the Americana Luncheon, which is like Fingers crossed. Sorry, the Outlaw Luncheon, I should say. Get my pistol out. That's at the Coburg RSL on Sunday, the 1st of August, with Madeline Lamont, Anna Cordell, and Holly Joyce. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll go ahead. We are nudging into super unknown, dangerous territory in the next week in terms of confirming things. So what I know to be sure is the Sing a Song of Sixpence shows are all going ahead around regional in Victoria. That's alongside Mick Thomas. Brooke Taylor will be going on a couple of adventures. I mean, look, I know all the dates and I know all the places. I guess it's just a case of like, will it happen and will it go ahead? I'm playing around Queenscliff. I'm going to go down to Warrnambool. There's some shows. I've got a show that was postponed from the last lockdown out in Healesville coming up in September. And then hopefully I'll go to New South Wales. Maybe I won't. I don't know, but I'll be playing. If I do, I'll be playing Kangaroo Valley Folk Festival and then Dorrigo Folk and Bluegrass Festival. And then coming back on the 31st of October, the album launch at Northcote Social Club has been rescheduled. You're the first to hear it. And all the band is in. They've confirmed, locked and loaded. So we will be hopefully ending this particular leg of my tour and album launch with the show. So that's kind of cool. It'll like wrap it up in a little bow and then I can go and fall apart by the campfire for a week or two.
Yes, you'll be
so hopefully
by then. But what a great reverse flip, and to launch the album at the end of the tour. That's something different, and that's what it's taking these days, isn't it? It's thinking on the hop, and sometimes you haven't really got a choice, but you've got to work with what you've got. So for anyone that hasn't found Kerryn, kerrynfields.com is what you're looking for. Please support Kerryn by checking her out and buying her two albums on Bandcamp. And if you're not sure, that's where you go. That's the link. And the lovely thing I'd like to put out there is if you feel generous enough to tell someone about Kerryn, please gift them an album, which you can do on Bandcamp, which is really exciting. So buy the album and give them a surprise to just let them download it and be blown away like I was. So thanks, Kerryn.
Thank you.
I suppose with the uncertainty comes more being able to expel more thoughts and more songs and more lyrics and more what's next scenarios. And I know you've just put this album out, but have you got any other thoughts that you've come up with in the last, say, month or so that you're starting to document?
In terms of creating a new record or I mean, always, I'm an avid songwriter and I practice songwriting as much as I wait for inspiration. I'm a bit of a geek out on songwriting. So I'll do things like quite often I'll do 14-day songwriting. I call them challenges, and I will connect with another artist and we will every day send a song a day for 14 days and just whatever comes. It doesn't have to be good. You just have to show up. So I've done quite a few of those with quite a number of artists over the past year, which have helped strengthen the connection in our artist community as well, which is like, let's remember what we do. We don't necessarily need a stage to be songwriters. Let's just churn out some great or shit songs, whatever. So I'm always creating and always writing. I guess in the past month, as I've come to launch this record and release this body of work, and this is really this is a real story. This record, it's got a strong narrative through it. It's a collection. It's a record of time. I guess I've just been thinking about what the next record might be and how I'd like to shape that, and really enjoying listening to a lot of great records and enjoying influences, both old and new, and finding myself really happy with who I am as an artist and a songwriter. So therefore not too concerned about what I may write, because at least I know it'll be the truth.
Yes. Beautiful. And just on the new album, Water, just tell us a little bit about that beautiful album artwork.
Oh my God, isn't it stunning?
Sure is.
Louise Mitchell, who's in Sydney, I just reached out to my core sort of, I guess, fan group. Sorry about the shadows on my face, by the way. We could do little puppets. One day I'll get studio lighting, but for now you've got Bogan Backyard K Fields. Yeah, so I reached out to like my mailing list and my social media, and I was like, who wants to create this album cover? I was in lockdown in New Zealand. Had no idea what I would like. Everything was just turned to crap. So I was like, well, yeah, I didn't really know what direction I wanted to take with the artwork or anything. So I put it out there, and the response I got was phenomenal. Like all these amazing artists sending through bodies of work and ideas and things. And I just kept coming back to Louise, who was painting a lot of rock pools and water themed ideas. And I just was drawn to the idea of a painting, like a real painting, instead of a digitally created, or, I did get those photographs taken in the caves, which were beautiful, but I didn't feel like any of them were album covers. And maybe they were, maybe they just didn't feel to me like I was really in the place that I needed to be to capture an album cover. So I chose Louise. And then when I sent her a little message saying, hey, I'd love for you to create the artwork, she sent a picture back to me of the moment that we'd met at the Blue Mountains Music Festival. And I didn't realize that she had a connection to my music and had bought the record and had a little signed Rascal record on her shelf. And so I felt really pleased that I'd chosen someone who was genuinely really connected to what I do and the music I create. And she made that phenomenal painting, and that's the cover.
Beautiful. Must be a very special moment for her as well, because I believe the album was a crowdfunding album. Was that correct? Came together?
Yeah, it was. It was a huge crowdfunding effort. My first time crowdfunding for music, which was very nerve-wracking.
Yes, I bet it was. But that's a beautiful way to include so many people, and I think there was over 100 contributors at least. So that's pretty special. So it must give you a great level of comfort with that support, that you had all those people behind you. And I'm sure there was a lot more than that didn't contribute, it would have loved to. So you can still contribute, and the way you contribute is to support Kerryn by getting to a next gig. And I think that's going to be really important, to get around Kerryn and make sure you know the lyrics to Mama, most importantly. So jump on and get that tea towel when it comes back into stock, which hopefully isn't too much longer.
Yeah, a couple of weeks away, I'll have some more tea towels. They just sold out so quickly, which was amazing. I was like, you're all diligent at doing your dishes. I'm very impressed.
It is great. And one thing I thought with your T-shirts were their very little quirky artwork drawings on those. So who can we thank for that little artworks?
On the T-shirt or the tea towel, or?
T-shirt.
Which T-shirt are you talking about?
I think you had one. This wasn't the guitar T-shirt I saw. This was... Maybe it was only the tea towel I was looking at. But
so the little tea towel, the picture of me that's really cute on the tea towel, that was made by Megan Bird, one half of Great Aunt, who are a fabulous old country folk duo. They were going to be opening the show actually at the Northcote Social Club. Hopefully they're available again on the 31st of October. So Megan Bird drew that little picture of me. I do have some T-shirts coming out in the next couple of weeks. I'm trying to see if I could grab one. There's one here. This one's for my best friend because she likes purple. These ones are coming out soon. And I made that design, and I just got a cool little designer, Nikki, to turn my dream into reality. And these T-shirts are made by Friendly Printers here in Brunswick. And they use all recycled T-shirts and recycled ink as well. So every T-shirt is different, and for that reason, they're $400 each. No, I'm kidding. So I've got those T-shirts will be posted soon, and then I've got some other quirky little bits and pieces coming up as well. But that guitar T-shirt is actually a real guitar case that I drew. I drew that design after I'd had stem cell treatment, and it felt to me like an acid trip. So I was like, oh, you should see what I'm seeing. So I drew it and then put it on a T-shirt.
I think that was incredible to read that about that. So, yes, out of such a weird kind of moment that you're in, not just weird, but it was part of your cleansing, I guess, and healing process. And you say tripped out, but I say it was all part of a purpose. And I think to be able to create an artwork from that is quite a special thing.
Yeah, thank you. It felt really special to me as well. And special because that was also crowdfunded, the stem cell treatment. And so I feel like I'm full of love from like thousands of people who chipped in, you know, $1 or $2 or even more if they could, to keep my body going. So every time I walk and stand and get to do what I do, I'm literally full of generosity and kindness. My body is been recreated by these amazing stem cells. So when I came out of my second treatment and I was just having all these visions, and you know, and I felt like, as I say, I felt like I was tripping from what I've read, and so I was like, oh, I need to draw what I'm feeling and seeing, and it felt really special to me, like a connection to all the wonderful people that had helped make my dreams come true.
Yeah, beautiful. And to be able to put that on a t-shirt for people to wear and feel connected to you as well must be special for them. So what we're going to do is, Kerryn, I want to thank you obviously for joining us with an hour of your time. I really appreciate it. And I know we've only recently connected, but I cannot wait to see you live again. And hopefully it's going to be in a spot before October. I'm going to find a trip to get on the road and find you somewhere. They just got to let me through the state borders at this stage, and I think if they've let you through, they'll let us through as well. So
that's true.
Look forward to finding one. So let's play one more and send us out.
Cool. This is the second single from the record that I made a little a clip to. Sorry, I have to tune my guitar between every song because I have thrashed this guitar on my adventures over the years. So this is a song called Queenie, and you can check it out, the little clip I made on YouTube, which features a lot of the footage from my hometown and from, well, I was in lockdown, so a lot of footage from my hometown, a lot of footage from my sister's house. And anyway, beautiful New Zealand. If you feel like blissing out on some great scenery for a few minutes, then you can find that with Queenie. So enjoy. Thanks so much for having me. A great privilege.
Got no money in the bank, this guitar slung on my back, and this hat I have worn a while. I came here alone, and that's the way I'll go. I won't be long back out your door, but I can light a fire, roll out a sweat, climb a mountain top and drink water there. I'm a queen of the road, I need earth, I need air, to where I've been, the places I've survived, strumming my way through town, and what I don't sing, it's too deep in me. And mostly that weighs me down, but I can light a fire, roll out a sweat, climb a mountain top and drink water there. I'm a queen of the road, I need earth, I need air. can light a fire, roll out a sweat, climb a mountain top and drink water there. I'm a queen of the road. I need earth, I need air. I've got no plan ahead, and I change direction. I guess I stared too long at the stars.
That was simply beautiful, Kerryn. I know I've said that about every one of your tracks so far, but thank you so much for joining me. I feel really privileged that I've been able to do this one-on-one with you as well. So hopefully a special connection between you and I. But I really feel thankful for you being able to do this and spending a Sunday afternoon with us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And most importantly, look forward to being out of lockdown and getting back out there amongst spreading your love of music for everyone.
Thank you so much for having me, for just shining a light on so many great artists. And I really, really do hope to see you out there. But I'm also very grateful to you for creating this wonderful space for us in the meantime and for all time.
Thank you. We look forward to catching up soon.
Thank you. Haere rā.